Welcome to Profound Impacts, Profound Insights webinar series. Today's episode is on real-time pivot and connecting the dots for multifaceted, engaging virtual events at scale. A University of Waterloo's case study from the Faculty of Mathematics. My name is Sherry Shannon Vanstone, President and CEO of Profound Impact. It is exciting to have you with us here today, this afternoon. Now, before we jump into the conversation, I would like to remind our attendees that you will be muted throughout this event. Now, you may submit your questions through the chat discussion board on the Profound Impact platform at any time, and we will address them during the Q&A session. Now, please note that this event is being recorded. Please use the chat discussion board to introduce yourself. And if you have any issues with sound or video, please let us know via the discussion board and our team will assist you. I would like to remind everyone about our free assessment tool on stakeholder engagement strategy on the Profound Impact platform. If you haven't already completed it, we welcome you to do so. And at the end of this webinar, a name will be drawn from all of the attendees today, and that organization will receive up to 4 hours of stakeholder engagement strategy consulting at no charge with Barney Ellis Perry, Profound Impacts engagement strategist. Now, it is my pleasure today to introduce you to Candace Harrington, Director of Advancement at the University of Waterloo, Faculty of Mathematics. And she is our featured speaker today. Now, Candace is a communications and development professional with over 15 years of experience across multiple sectors, developing, executing, and managing communication strategies and philanthropic campaigns to drive outreach and engagement and increase impact. In her current role as Director of Advancement in the Faculty of Mathematics, she oversees the faculty's advancement strategy and works in partnership with the senior leadership to identify, define, and prioritize new programs and outreach initiatives necessary to advance the reputation and philanthropic support of the Faculty of Mathematics. She also maintains broad oversight of the Dean of Mathematics external and internal advancement engagement and is responsible for advising him or her on interactions with donors, corporations, associations, government organizations, and network building within the global community of alumni and partners. With a special interest in women's empowerment, Indigenous communities, and access to education, Candace is a passionate volunteer for organizations, initiatives, and campaigns that align with those interests, which transforms the lives of women and Indigenous people and unlocks the power of education. In 2014, Candace assumed the role of president for the longest serving Rotary Club in Waterloo region and the first to open their membership to women. Candace is named Top 40 Under 40 and is a Paul Harris Fellow, a Case Circle of Excellence Award International recipient, and a certified fundraising executive. She holds a bachelor's degree in communication, a postgraduate certificate in fundraising management, and is currently a Master of Communications Management, Canada. It is also my pleasure to introduce you to Brian Romansky, who after Candace's presentation will discuss the virtual event features of the Profound Impact platform. Now, Brian is an engineer and innovator with extensive experience in data security and new business development. As the Chief Strategic Advisor at Profound Impact, Brian is leading our AI and data analytics strategy to provide data visualization to build strong technical connections and communities and set the stage for successful collaboration. Now, over to you, Candace.
Thank you very much, Sherry. And I just wanted to double check, the sound check is fine? Yes? Okay.
Yes.
Sherry, thank you for such a warm and wonderful introduction. And I'm definitely going to have to work on shortening that a little bit. I'm surprised that mine is more extensive than Brian's, given the amount of work we've done directly with Brian. And
I just want to say, Candace, I had to put it all in there because it's so important that people understand how broad and all of the activity that you've done, especially in your volunteer roles.
Oh, thank you. And I do sit on a board with Sherry. So full disclosure, it's a wonderful board and it really drives forward programming and opportunities for women in leadership locally. So I'm pleased to be part of that. And as I was saying about Brian, I would have expected his resume to be significantly longer than mine, given the depth of his understanding, both of the unique community we were coming from during the planning and launch of the platform, but continues to be an incredibly valuable partner and resource and friend since then. So thank you, Sherry, and thank you, Brian, for letting me to be part of your presentation. I'm delighted to be here today to showcase how the Profound Impact platform and team not only help the Faculty of Mathematics survive what we're all dubbing as the COVID pivot, but to also meet our constituents' needs and expectations in new and surprising ways. And certainly when we started this journey 2 years ago, we couldn't have imagined where we'd end up and that the product would be even better than our early expectations for it. So to set the context a little bit, I wanted to highlight the Faculty of Mathematics. Faculty is a large faculty in the University of Waterloo. We include the departments of Actuarial Science and Statistics, Pure Math, Applied Math, Combinatorics and Optimization, as well as the School of Computer Science. And I wanted to highlight that because the Faculty of Mathematics is unique across North America. We can confirm that we are the only and largest Faculty of Mathematics in North America, but there is some thoughts that it may indeed be the world. But we're just following up, but we think a few new faculties have popped up. But I thought that was important to point out because you'll see the depth and breadth of the alumni population that we have to deal with. Also, like many higher education STEM universities, we struggle with gender diversity, and that was something that was a clear commitment both of our previous dean and our current dean, as well as our president. We'll talk a little bit more about that later. I am happy to say that some of these stats have changed. For instance, the faculty hires in 2019, I'm proud to say that 47% of the full-time faculty hires that were brought in were women. So we're definitely making strides in this area, but there is room to grow. And one of our questions was, could a platform help us to accomplish some of the things that we were doing kind of ad hoc, but also in person and limited to in-person activities? As well, the Faculty of Mathematics has a large international population, which I always say is a value add for our graduates. Our graduates have worked hand in hand and side by side with international future alumni peers and students. So they really understand when they go out there into the community, they're working in a global environment. Most industries are global to some degree now in our new flattened world. And so they have a bit of a head start already working with different cultures and populations. And then of course, about 3 or 4, maybe even 5 years ago now, our President Feridun Hamdullah signed on very publicly to the UN's 10 by 10 by 10 impact campaign. And so he made, as part of that, a commitment to better supporting and more recruitment, both of female faculty members, which we see as important for our undergraduate and graduate student body, but as well to support our students, alumni, faculty, and researchers as well. So, as a Faculty of Math advancement team, we really had 2 major challenges ahead of us. And they were interesting challenges. So we sat back and we took a look at our global alumni population and how could we build a community for our international alumni so that they would feel more connected to the faculty. While we can't recreate the on-campus experience, although I have a little update since the slides were created, which I'll update on later. While we can't recreate that experience, how can we get them connected back to the faculty? But also, how can we ensure that once they are out there in the world, we're providing some kind of a value add so that they will update their contact information with us. You'll notice in the last slide, we had a significant amount of alumni that seemed to be populated in the Toronto KW area. We know as we meet with our alumni that that's not always the case. They may just not have updated their information since their time with us immediately becoming alumni or their time on campus. So how can we add a value add like LinkedIn where it would drive alumni to want to update both industries they're working in, their current jobs, as well as their where they're living. The second challenge was, how do we build a community of support and encouragement for our female constituents? And that can be faculty, that can be alumni, students, and potential students, as well as how can we raise the profile of the really interesting jobs and roles that are out there beyond just an accountant or a teacher that they would be eligible to have with a math degree. So two very interesting challenges. And we came back with the same solution, that our math digital community, the platform that we were custom building with the Profound Impact team, could be the answer for our global audience. But we could also have a subgroup within that was open specifically to female identifying alumni, students, and friends. So how did we do that? We went immediately into planning because we are working with business and math professionals. So immediately we had to look into planning. So we engaged stakeholders across the enterprise to determine their needs and expectations for a possible digital community. We did this through surveys, focus groups, and one-on-one interviews, both with students. We did it as well with alumni, faculty members, as well as internal stakeholders from our central offices and our systems and design teams, because one of our goals behind this was secure data transfer, but also how can we get that updated information into our CRMs? So when we're doing our planning, such as travel, events, we knew exactly where people were and what would be of interest to them. So once we started to curate that information, we met with the Profound Impact team to review what some of the goals and objectives were and what this platform could realistically be expected to deliver. Some of those early goals were security first. We know that we are working with a really tech-savvy audience, especially coming out of our School of Computer Science, which also houses our Cybersecurity and Privacy Institute. So whatever platform it was going to be, it needed to be absolutely rock solid secure for our faculty as well as our alumni to want to input their contact information into there. We also needed to know we could capture the data that was being updated in real time and allow us to download it into our CRM for our own planning purposes. We also wanted to offer a space that was almost a central clearinghouse for all our communications and activities of interest to alumni. And like many of you, we struggle with a really large institution that has pockets of communication coming out of both our central advancement office, which has some really great custom newsletters for alumni. We have math-specific communications, as well as we have university-specific communications coming out of our university relations group. So we wanted to provide folks with a one-stop shop with everything that would be of interest and some fun things. So for example, we have a student newsletter that's completely student run called Math News, and in it hosts professor quotes and different various things from the student perspective. But a lot of our alumni enjoyed that publication while on campus and continue to enjoy it when we meet with them in person and bring them copies. We were able to work with our student editors to make sure that they have that's being fed into that one-stop shop content platform so they can have copies of it monthly. We also knew that we wanted to provide a value add for our alumni to ensure they were updating their information beyond just the regular profile information, but to be able to tell us what industries are they working with, who are they mentoring, where are they geographically located, and because we're an academic institution, what research projects do they have on the go? And what the Profound Impact team was able to do is build a bunch of very dynamic maps and mapping tools so that alumni would see the value in updating these various components of their life by showing that, by making sure that their story was included, for example, in the impact of research coming out of the Faculty of Math, and their story would be captured under there. Ensuring that if they were in industry and we were talking about how the Faculty of Math was changing public health, for example, because that's timely, they could be subdivided into that group, as well as geographically located. If an alumnus is in Austin and hasn't let us know, they're not being made aware of events that we're hosting in Austin, and that's a real shame. So this allows us, as they update, they do receive invitations for math-specific events, but they're also connected to an Austin community of mathies there that they can network and engage with. So, and then we went through additional kind of goals for the project. We wanted to be able to tell the story of the Faculty of Mathematics in a new and dynamic fashion. And why that was important is because early on, when we first started talking about this project, we had just produced a Math 50th anniversary book, coffee table book that was celebrating the Faculty of Math. And as anybody who's worked on a project like that knows, the minute it was printed, we started getting updates and corrections, as well as opportunities missed, such as telling the story of the first ever B Math that was given out by the Faculty of Mathematics, which happened to be a woman. A very interesting story to be able to capture in our storytelling documents. Unfortunately, it wasn't discovered till later. So this would allow us to tell a richer and more robust story, but also invite our alumni and our students and our faculty to help co-create that story and to be able to make sure that things that were being shared were being captured in a way that we would be able to have that dynamic story moving forward. Again, it was built with data, knowing that all this data that's being created on that platform were pieces that we wanted to hold on to so we would have the full picture of the faculty. We also wanted to highlight experts. So many of you working in higher education are aware that we like to promote who faculty researchers are working in different areas, which allows media to be able to amplify our stories by connecting with researchers working in areas that they're currently talking about. But we also wanted to be able to highlight the experts who are our alumni. Again, it shares the story of the University of Waterloo and the Faculty of Mathematics, but it's a little more robust than just your typical researcher database for media interviews. So we continue to work on that. Definitely, as I said from the start, we really wanted to build a sense of community, especially with an international population. Alumni we have live in areas of the world we may never get to. And if we do, it may be once or every 2 years. So we want to make sure that we're connecting them back to the faculty and they remember their experience, and we're providing a value add. We and then we also wanted to, one of the things we learned early on in our research is our alumni care very deeply about the faculty members they engaged with during their time in undergraduate or master's studies. And we wanted to be able to provide a platform that shared with them what those faculty members are up to today, but also to be able to connect our faculty members and their students in a meaningful way. So we met with the Profound Impact team with this huge basket of goals we wanted to accomplish, and work through each one. And I am happy to say that there wasn't one opportunity we brought up to them or one objective that we brought up that they said that wasn't doable. Of course, we had to plan it out over a structured period of time because we wanted to ensure as we released each component that it was done, it was best in class before we issued it out to folks. So it was a quality experience for the user from day one. We also worked closely with the team to figure out how are we going to measure this? How are we going to demonstrate what success looks like? So we can be reporting back both to senior leaders within the university, but also to help inform Profound Impact as they continue to build. Where were our areas of great success and where were there areas that we could continue to build on? So I did mention earlier that gender diversity was one issue we were dealing with, and what we had come back with was we had decided we were going to launch a Waterloo Women's Impact Network, and that was going to be launched May 12th. It was going to be an in-person event. However, we were going to have sort of a soft launch of the Profound Impact platform, only so much as to engage the women who were actually on site at that event, show them some early mock-ups and what our plans for the future were, and invite them to sign up. And then our goal was to launch the entire platform September 14th on what was playfully being dubbed the Profound Impact Day. And I'll let Sherry and Brian talk more about how this day was selected, but it was meant to be a preview for our Alumni Black and Gold Day when we would launch it to a wider global audience later that month. And then COVID hit. So COVID hit, and in early days of COVID, the Faculty of Math, like most people, were thinking that we're probably going to be able to stay on steadiest course. We're going to be in our homes for about 2 weeks. They'll get this, they'll get the pandemic kind of under control enough that we can still continue to move on with the events planned for November 11th and, November 12th. And that didn't happen. We increasingly had cascading backwards when campuses would open again, when people could be available in person. And finally, 2 weeks before that date, we faced the very real possibility that we would need to cancel our in-person event. One of the challenges for that was that we also knew this was at a time when our alumni and our students and our faculty were feeling very disconnected and very isolated. We had all went into lockdown at the same time. So we sat down with the Profound Impact team and we said, we know that we're not ready. We know that we're still months out from launching the platform, but do you think it could be a possibility that we could actually host the entire event on the platform that day. And Profound Impact, once Sherry got up off the floor, said, we've got 2 weeks, we can do it. And we went into overdrive. So in 2 weeks' time, we had to learn Zoom, and now Zoom is almost ubiquitous with everything we do. But at the time, we weren't familiar with the Zoom platform and needed to learn that very quickly. We had some speakers who were no longer able to participate, just given the changing circumstances in their own life. But we also knew that now that it was digital, we could invite global speakers. So incredible alumni doing amazing things across the globe could be telecast and shared with our alumni and our students who were feeling a bit disconnected wherever they were in the world. So it did open up a whole new lineup of speakers, which was wonderful. We also knew, though, that at the time, Zoom bombing was something that was being talked about quite a bit. So we needed to ensure the safety of the students and the safety of the experience for all our alumni, including speakers and participants. And also because anyone who has been involved in some of the conversations around women in tech and the need for more women in tech know that it can be a polarizing topic. And so we were very concerned potentially with trolls for that. What Profound Impact did for us was first, we sold out in 12 hours or 24 hours, less than 24 hours. So we actually had to purchase more seats through Zoom. And so that was an exciting surprise and definitely showed the need and the appetite for folks to join in. And each one of those registrants, we verified who they were they faculty, were they students, were they alumni? And if we couldn't verify who they were, we just redirected them to Facebook, where we were also displaying the content from the day onto Facebook, but we just really wanted to ensure the safety of our participants. And Profound Impact created user-specific ID codes for each person who entered the platform. So we were able to see where they were joining us from. Their colleagues were able to see where they were joining us from. Were they a student? Were they faculty? Just in aggregated maps. So no one person was centered out unless they made their profile public. But yeah, the unique user ID codes allowed them to either access content that was created just for them. So people were only viewing things that were meant for them, and or redirected to the Facebook page to ensure the security. So what happened? We breathed a sigh of relief the day after. Couldn't believe the monumental lift, both on the math advancement team, but also the Profound Impact team who worked with us in real time. We had hundreds of users for our first real-time focus group. And again, this was a beta version of the final platform that was to be launched in September. We had over 444 attendees join us from across the globe. And everybody tried to log in within a 10-minute window. So that was an amazing stress test for a system that hadn't been tested to that degree at that point. And what we found is that there was less than 1% technical issues, and those were dealt with in real time right away. So people didn't lose any content for the day or experience any great distress. They were logged in pretty seamlessly right away. Those who did have technical issues, the couple of them did follow up with us afterwards, thanking us for making sure that they were on the system quickly. What we also learned is that the majority of the issues were really how we were communicating the instructions for the morning. So we learned how to better communicate those to attendees so that they had a seamless experience as well. Everyone expects the Amazon experience. You're going to open your email and click here and you're in. And we were more the government banking model where we explained everything. So we learned some refining things to refine about our processes internally. We also learned that day how the users engaged and interacted with the platform, what was of interest to them, what did they click on the most, you know, who enjoyed what we were calling the global foyer. We had set it up like it was a women's summit. It was International Women in Math Day, and it was a summit. So we offered blocks of content throughout the day, and our plans were that, like if you were at a conference and you would move out of one programming room, going to another, you would stop along the corridors and meet other people who were there and engage with them. So our discussion board there was called the Global Foyer, and women were invited to connect with each other and engage with each other. And then we, of course, always measuring, we followed up with participants afterwards and asked them, would you be likely, or how very likely would you be to use a platform like this to continue to engage and network with alumni, students, and faculty members? And we heard overwhelmingly everybody wanted it. So it was a really great day. And we actually attracted the attention of a very special guest who joined us that morning to kick things off and welcome everybody to International Women in Math Day. And because no good deed goes unpunished, because of the success of the event, and really we were joined by a lot of people, as I'm sure most people have in the early days when it's an untested product, saying, oh, I don't know if that's going to work, I'm not sure. And as soon as they saw the success and the success of the day, we were invited to repeat the exact same thing 3 weeks later, so tons of time this time, for our graduating class. So we had a graduating class of students who were graduating in a time of great economic insecurity as well as job insecurity. And they were also missing out on the special celebrations that happened around convocation. And the university did a really good job of providing a virtual convocation celebration for folks. But we wanted to do something special for our math graduates, as well as invite our alumni to join us in this process and to celebrate this new group. And for this one, we had 627 participants. And when I say participants, I mean participants on the platform. We had many more people who joined us on social media who were redirected over there. And I'll talk a little bit more about that in a minute. But this time we wanted to do something fun because we knew that people were getting screened out and zoomed out and webinared out. So we offered entire blocks of content, which were just interactions available right on the platform. Alumni joined in droves. They wanted to offer messages of support. This time it wasn't the global foyer. This time it was the celebration wall. Alumni who couldn't join us that day sent in messages of support and videos of support. It was an opportunity for students and alumni to connect together, and students who are now transitioning into alumni to have a welcome to this new community that they we're now involved with. We also provided some interesting blocks of content for some of our superstar students who would have, during convocation, regular convocation activities, would have had a leadership or prominent profile role. We were able to provide some unique blocks of content for them and participation. So for example, this young gentleman here, Jose is an amazing mathematician and researcher from in the Department of Combinatorics and Optimization. And he actually sat down for a virtual chat with the president and CEO of Royal Bank Canada, who is Dave Mackay, one of our math alumnus. And again, you can imagine at that time, David's schedule was very busy, but because of what we wanted to accomplish with that day and just the overwhelming want to be able to provide something unique for students, these students that were graduating at this very uncertain time, he made himself available, and Jose was so proud. His parents would have flown out from Peru to attend his convocation ceremonies, but certainly the rest of his family wouldn't have been able to participate. Jose was able, well, I think it was Jose's mother, was able to share the link so that the family could enjoy and cherish this special memory of their much beloved son during his convocation. So it allowed us to open it up even more. Again, we had very positive results and feedback from folks. And we even had 2 students who approached us about putting together a student advisory group to advise on what students would want to see on such a platform. So we hadn't anticipated that, but it was a very welcomed outcome. And of course, we had to have a special guest. And while I think Oscar was quite sweet to join us that day, and that's Kim Davison, again, another alumnus who had recently won an Oscar. I believe he has an Emmy and Grammys and several things, but recently was awarded the Oscar from, I'm gonna forget the guy's name, from Star Trek. One of the more recent commanders-in-chief. It'll come to me later. But I would argue that Oscar was no match for our prime minister. And then while we all took a deep sigh of relief that those 2 incredible hurdles were covered and seamlessly, then we moved into our September 14th activities that were planned that day. And again, Profound Impact Day was the day that we wanted to launch, and Profound Impact really is about, at its core, is about telling the impact of each person who's come through the Faculty of Mathematics. And since our constituents, we included not just students, not just alumni, as well as some of their wider circles and groups. We also wanted to really put a focus on faculty members because we knew alumni wanted to engage with faculty. So we decided to scale back the events that day slightly to put more of an emphasis on faculty members. So to invite faculty that day, and programming customized to them was provided that day. And we also invited alumni to share favorite memories of profs from their time at Waterloo. So we were also able to link social media with the Profound Impact platform by sharing some of these digital assets that were the great stories of the profound impact of faculty members, as well as connect it back to the platform that day. And then post our launch of the Waterloo Math Digital Community, we have continued to just organically include it in all of our activities. So post the spring convocation as well as fall convocations, postcards were sent as part of a convocating package that our students received from the university, inviting them to stay connected and get involved. We also hosted our Alumni Black and Gold Day exclusively on the platform. So all content was streamed through the platform. Again, people could see in real time where other people were joining from. So what you don't see in that picture there, that's our new dean who we had introduced that day, as well as our board chair and alumnus Cindy Forbes. And what you can't see there is me behind, standing behind the camera, showing Mark all the different countries where alumni were joining him for his inaugural lecture. And then an unusual way was we had a much beloved professor pass away. And the thought was, let's do something interesting for him and acknowledge his passing. And Profound Impact team quickly worked with us to put up a page so people could share their thoughts and feelings, which also really connected the faculty again to the platform. We've hosted now, you'll remember that WIN, the Waterloo Women's Impact Network, was something that we launched on May 12th with our initial event. And we've since went on to host webinars in that very special group that is, it's a segmented group that's restricted access only to female identifying faculty, students, staff, and researchers, as well as our allies. So people for whom this issue is very important to them. We also decided to do something interesting this year since we were having such success bringing everyone together into this platform. We thought we'd test some early digital fundraising. So for our Giving Tuesday, which most people participate in, or at least most higher education institutes participate in, we decided to have a fun challenge where we invited people on the platform to join one of two teams. So Team WIN, where their dollars would be going to support women in math activities and opportunities. And the other one went to support early education. So Team CEMC, we had some interactive graphs that were created for that, so people could see where the teams were at. And of course, we, by its very nature, it is a social media campaign. So by its very nature, we integrated that heavily with social media. And we since followed up with a New Year's card that we sent to all alumni with a QR code, again, inviting them to join the platform. So just a quick summary about what we loved. We loved the ability for the platform to be branded so it looked like it was an extension of any experience you would have with a Waterloo math, either communication or our digital assets. We love that there's a hub that we can add where we can put all information relevant for alumni at one central spot so people can engage with it instead of having to look over. We love the groups and we have plans for future groups. Right now we have the Women's Impact Network group and we have a future plan for entrepreneurship group, a group dedicated to entrepreneurs. Sorry, got ahead of myself. We love the integration with social media, and that was something that we hadn't planned for or asked for in our early conversations. And yet during the time from May 12th to the June 5th event, Profound Impact saw the need and the opportunity to integrate social media widgets and made that available to us. We love the dynamic storytelling and the gamification around the interactive maps. And of course, the security features, which for us would have been a critical point of failure had that not have been built into the process right from the start. Current active users to date are 831, and we continue to grow that by sharing. Again, it's only going to be, we're only going to get out of this what we put into it, and we're aware of this. So we organically include it in all our communications and updates, as well as ensure that we're driving traffic there through our events. Future planning, we're very excited, especially with our Women's Impact Network, is that the future planning is that we will be able to offer mentoring on the platform. Profound Impact has already worked on this and has this module available for us. We just, again, are being slow in our approach with how we recruit our mentors and what is our expectations of a mentorship program. So we're working on that now, but we're very excited for that because that's something that our alumni keep asking us for and our students, but something that we just couldn't scale given the volume of students and alumni. This will allow for matching and various pieces like that. So it'll just make it a simple experience for us. Bulk email integration tools. We know that we all face challenges with our alumni not opening our emails. I am inundated with emails from some of my alma mater, so I can imagine the experience for our alumni. And sometimes it's hard to get our messages above the din. This will allow us to directly email them from the platform so they can be flagged that it is something directly from the faculty. New graphs, we want to be able to see or to be able to demonstrate both for future students and current students where a math degree could lead and what kind of pathways people have taken. This was a surprise for us, but the Profound Impact team let us know that we would be able to launch a job board. So our alumni could advertise for students and grads, and the reverse as well. In the future too, we're looking forward to an app, being able to have this platform at the fingertips and on every cell phone of every math alumnus. And I will update you because it has recently been brought to my attention. I'm very excited about this, that there is actually work now being done on being able to offer virtual campus tours and tours of the faculty right on the platform. And I actually have a meeting tomorrow to discuss what that could look like for the Faculty of Math. So I think that's it for me. I'll turn things over to Brian. In the end, I just want to say it's been a wonderful experience working hand in hand with the team. And I really felt like we were partners in this project together. There was no wish, and I probably shouldn't say this, there was no lofty goal that we had put in front of the team that they weren't able to say, here's how we might accomplish that. So a huge thanks to Sherry and the Profound Impact team.
Well, thank you, Candice. That was a great summary. You and the entire team in the math department at Waterloo have been great partners for us as we built out the platform. As you've shown, we have an aggressive schedule of new features we plan to add. I'm going to take just a quick minute here to just show a couple of quick examples, a live demo of a couple of the features that Candice had highlighted. She's already talked about the live events that we were able to host on the platform. We were able to quickly adapt to the math department's changing needs, as you know, that the need to move online and the need to move more events into a centralized platform became urgent. So let's just take a quick look at some of those. So at a high level, Profound Impact is a portal. It's a platform that can bring a community together. For the purposes of the Waterloo Math Department, it's really connecting alumni and faculty, showing where there's hidden stories, hidden connections, looking for ways to uncover those hidden relationships, making alumni feel better connected to other alumni and to the university. Unlike a lot of platforms that you may be familiar with, social platforms, the data that's collected in here, the data that's in the platform belongs to the university. So this is actually belonging to the math department at Waterloo. So as a user, if you provide your profile information, if you share information about things like where you've worked, you can be confident that that data is going to be private and shared only within that one community. So if we look at things like some of our graphs showing academic relationships, these are relationships here showing professors and their students. Again, that data belongs to the math department. It is only shared within this community. I'm not going to spend a lot of time in this, but it's just one example of the type of graphs that Candice was hinting at that we will be building out over time. Just to dig a little bit closer into the events. So one of the events that she mentioned was this class of 2020. So what we're looking at here is a portal page for that event. There's a couple of banner stories across the top that give you deeper information about the class, the graduating class. There's an ongoing threaded discussion group here. So long after the event is over, you can go back and see the conversation that happened during the event that was live and online, scroll through the history of what people had to say about it, what the comments were, what the reactions were. You can see the agenda from the day of all the events that happened. And we also have another live graph here. So This is showing of the various events that happened during the day. You can see where people were logged in from. So you can see how many people were coming in from Canada, which is dominant for most of these events, but you can see that you also had people coming in from other countries participating in each of these events. Some of them were happening concurrently, some of them happened in series, and participants could see in real time on this graph which events were attracting the most attention from different geographic regions, and use that as sort of like a virtual meeting space where you can understand where people are coming from. And again, this is a live graph, kind of fun to play with. We are building out new features on these so that you can have different views of the same data set. So those are just a couple of examples of the ways that you can tell a story and make an event come to life with additional data beyond what you'd normally have. As you can see, if you're logged into the platform now for this event, the Zoom meeting is overlaid on top of the platform itself. So we can tie the live meeting and the live Zoom stream into the page for the actual event. And then we have individual private channels for different activities. So again, Candace had mentioned a separate page that was created for Professor John Beatty. And we also had a separate page that we created for the Profound Impact launch day to introduce people to the platform. Again, the threaded discussion is here from the day. If you wanted to go back to see what conversation people had, if you wanted to see where people were logged in from, if you want to see tweets and social media content related to that event, it's all collected here, and the archive is retained for as long as you choose to keep this group together. One other feature of the platform is that all of these banner stories, all of this information about the events and about the organization, is all self-managed. So, Candace and her team can take over and run if they wanted to update things like these banner stories. And as you can see, they've added quite a few different stories and highlights of different faculty and activities in the math department. They can manage that themselves. I'm not going to go into the details, but there's a rich text editor where they can add their own images. They can edit the text. They can create links to other events and other sites, and they can do that all themselves. So the portal aspect of this is self-managed. The data and the graphs are all driven by live data, things like the map here showing where alumni are located. That's live data. As new people join the platform and enter their information, that gets dynamically updated, and we're very aggressively adding new features and new views into these graphs, into these maps. That's all we're going to show for right now in terms of a live demo. If you have questions, I would invite you to put them into the chat window and let us know what you're thinking or what questions you might have. Candace, I'm wondering from your experience working with the platform and doing live events, were you at all surprised by where people were logging in from? Was there any insight you were able to gain from understanding where people were coming from?
I was. I'm not sure that it was a surprise. It was interesting to me to see where people were logging into and the volume of people that were logging in internationally. I think we knew that we didn't really know where our alumni were located. So seeing it in real time, that there was a number of people from Kenya who are logging in, where we know that or at least our database would tell us we only have one alumnus there. So that was a pleasant surprise. I don't think it was a surprise. Brian, one thing I would love to hear or love for you to share with folks is early on in the process, again, we engaged our internal stakeholders, both from our data systems perspective, but communications perspective. And one of the items that was really important to them was accessibility. So that wasn't something certainly we brought up in the beginning in terms of these are kind of our objectives, but we came back to the Profound Impact team and said, how can we meet these accessibility guidelines? And your team picked up the ball and ran with it. And so maybe tell a little bit of that.
Yeah, no, that's a great feature. So just like the platform's ability to reach a diverse audience, we wanted to make sure it was accessible to everyone. We have integrated features to make the platform AA accessible. So if you look at the bottom, there's a switch here that can change the mode. So if you switch from sort of ordinary viewer mode to what's considered the AA compatible accessible mode, you're going to notice that as I switch over, the contrast of the diagrams increases. Some of the data becomes available in tabular form. So we actually map all of the widgets and features into an AA accessible version so that this is compatible with electronic assistance devices and people who may have restrictions in terms of visual and interactive styles on a normal computer. Also, the layout of the screen is adaptive as well. So while we don't yet have a full app version of the platform, you can view it from mobile devices and it will adapt to the size and shape of your screen, or if you have a special purpose viewing device that meets your personal requirements, it should be able to adapt to most screen sizes and styles as well.
I was one of the things that there were a number of things that bubbled up along the way, along the project, and took the project in new and interesting ways and ways we couldn't have imagined. So we were incredibly grateful to your openness and flexibility in talking about that. One of the things that I'm hoping for the future is I would love to see a big digital wall within our math faculty building. We have a new building that'll be coming online relatively soon, and leveraging the interactive maps and interactive features to be able to add that on a large digital screen. So alumni visiting can see where they are in the maps, but also so students who are coming as part of our regular outreach activities can see where all the different careers and where all the different mathematicians are in the world. So we're looking forward to that as being almost a phase 2. A lot of it's going to be on our end, just leveraging your software and putting it on this large digital screen. And one of the early kind of ideas around that was the UBC project that has a large interactive digital screen. And I was delighted to find out that one of the newest members of Profound Impact, Barney, was part of that development team. So can help with some of that, guiding that process along for us.
Yeah, I think that's a great idea. And I think a lot of the visual representations of the back-end data can really lend itself well to a big screen and an interactive screen where people can really engage with the data in ways that you wouldn't think of normally doing through a regular portal.
Yeah, and with the faculty, like the Faculty of Mathematics, we don't have a ton of very interactive pieces for outreach activities. So this would allow us to make math visible for people. So in a way that is fun and engaging.
Okay, well, with that, if anybody does have a question you want to ask me directly, by all means, this is my contact information here. You can shoot me an email or contact us on Twitter at Profound Impact, and happy to engage with you there. With that, I'm going to turn it back to Sherry.
Yes, thank you so much, Candace and Brian, for that conversation. And I think we could have just continued on, but of course we need to come to a close. But Candace, thank you for sharing your journey and for allowing us at Profound Impact to be a partner in that journey. I just want to wrap up with a few things. Last month, we published our first monthly newsletter, Profound Connection, and the next newsletter will be sent out later this week. So hopefully you will engage with that newsletter at your convenience. I mentioned the draw. I'm going to be drawing a name out of this beautiful colorful hat for the draw for the 4 hours with Barney. And the winner is Megan Jerry. And I will be reaching out to her at basco.ca and setting that up with Barney. Congratulations, Megan.
Yeah.
Our next webinar.
I'll just add too that by being a partner in this, I've had a chance to engage with Barney, and those 4 hours are going to be 4 solid hours. That is a great prize. And in fact, I put my own name in maybe twice. So well done, Megan.
Yeah. Yes, and if anyone hasn't seen the perimeter webinars that we had with Barney, you can see how we worked with the Perimeter Institute and worked through their strategy over that episode 1, parts 1 and 2. And they can be accessed via the Profound Insight page. Our next webinar will be on March 23rd on the nonlinear future of work, making connections with digital communities. Look forward to seeing you there. Additionally, Profound Impact is collaborating with the Women in Communications and Technology Waterloo Region chapter. This is the organization that Candace mentioned that she is on the executive with me and many others. We are the presenting sponsors for International Women's Day 2021, which is on March 8th in the Waterloo region. We have 10 other Waterloo region organizations, including Wilfrid Laurier, University of Waterloo, RBC Bank, BMO, that's the Bank of Montreal, Durrell Communications, Vidyard, Perimeter Institute, Open Text, and the Rotary clubs across Waterloo region. And this is a full day program. And this year's theme is Choose to Challenge. And we hope you will join us for this free event, and we will be sending out a notification on that. So thank you again for joining us, and I hope we can continue this conversation with you about the Profound Impact platform and how we can help your organization provide a digital community to not only measure your global impact, but also to facilitate and accelerate connectivity to inspire collaborative solutions to difficult global problems. See you on March 8th and March 23rd. Thank you.